Hello, aspiring bakers. Have you ever dreamt of pulling a warm, golden loaf of bread from your oven, filling your home with that incredible aroma? But maybe you thought bread baking was too complicated, too time-consuming, or just for seasoned pros. Well, today, we're going to change all that. I'm here to show you how to bake the best bread for beginners, inspired by the timeless simplicity and wisdom of the old Amish way. Get ready to discover a secret that makes homemade bread surprisingly achievable, even for your very first try. The Amish tradition is all about simple living, sustainable practices, and creating nourishing food from scratch. When it comes to bread, this means using a handful of basic ingredients and straightforward techniques that have been passed down through generations. There are no fancy machines or obscure steps, just pure, honest baking. This philosophy makes Amish bread an absolute perfect starting point for anyone new to baking, as it strips away the intimidating complexities and focuses on the fundamental joys of creation. For beginners, the Amish approach offers several key advantages. First, the ingredients are incredibly accessible and inexpensive. You likely have most of them in your pantry right now. Second, the process emphasizes feel and intuition over strict, rigid measurements and timings, which can be incredibly liberating. Third, the resulting bread is consistently delicious and hearty, providing a huge confidence boost with your very first successful loaf. It's a forgiving recipe that still yields professional-looking results. You'll be amazed. Now, about that 5-minute part in our title. Let's be clear, we're not baking bread in 5 minutes flat. That would be a miracle. What we mean is 5 minutes of active, hands-on prep time. Once you gather your ingredients and understand the steps, the actual time you spend mixing and kneading is incredibly short. The rest is passive time, letting the yeast do its amazing work. This distinction is crucial because it makes baking feel much less daunting, fitting easily into even the busiest schedules. Let's dive into our star ingredients, starting with flour. For this beginner Amish-style bread, we're using all-purpose flour. All-purpose flour is milled from a blend of hard and soft wheat, giving it a moderate protein content that's versatile and forgiving. It produces a tender crumb and a good crust, making it ideal for a classic white bread loaf. While you can experiment with bread flour later, all-purpose is your best friend for getting started because it consistently delivers great results without overthinking. Next up is yeast, the magical single-celled organism that makes our bread rise. We'll be using active dry yeast. It's readily available and easy to work with. Yeast feeds on sugar and produces carbon dioxide gas, creating tiny bubbles that get trapped in the dough, causing it to expand. Think of it as your invisible baking assistant, tirelessly working to create that light, airy texture we all love. It's alive, so treating it right is key to a successful loaf. Water isn't just for hydration, it's crucial for activating our yeast and bringing the dough together. The temperature of the water is vital, it needs to be warm, not hot, not cold. Too hot, and you'll kill the yeast, too cold, and it won't activate properly. Aim for lukewarm, like a comfortable bath, around 105 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 to 46 Celsius. This provides the perfect cozy environment for the yeast to wake up and get to work, ensuring a good rise for your bread. Salt might seem like a small detail, but it plays a huge role in bread making. It does much more than just add flavor, it also controls the yeast's activity, preventing it from rising too quickly and collapsing. Furthermore, salt strengthens the gluten structure in the dough, which is essential for a good crumb and texture. Without salt, your bread would taste bland, rise wildly, and often lack structure. So, don't skip the salt, it's a fundamental part of the magic. Many traditional Amish bread recipes include a touch of sugar and a little oil or butter. Sugar, like granulated white sugar or honey, gives the yeast an initial boost and contributes to a beautiful golden brown crust. It also adds a subtle sweetness to the bread. A small amount of neutral oil, like vegetable or canola oil or melted butter, makes the dough more pliable, easier to handle, and creates a softer crumb. These aren't strictly essential, but they significantly enhance the bread's flavor, texture, and keeping quality. You don't need a fancy stand mixer or a professional proofing box for this Amish bread. The beauty of this method lies in its simplicity, requiring just a few basic kitchen tools. You'll need a large mixing bowl, a sturdy wooden spoon or spatula, measuring cups and spoons, and a standard loaf pan. A kitchen scale is helpful for accuracy but not strictly necessary for this forgiving recipe. And of course, your own 2 hands. That's it, simple, accessible, and ready for baking. Alright, bakers, it's time to roll up our sleeves and get baking. Remember, we're aiming for that 5-minute active prep time, so let's move efficiently but calmly. Don't worry if things aren't absolutely perfect, baking is a journey, and every loaf teaches you something new. Our goal here is to build your confidence and show you just how satisfying making bread from scratch can be. Let's begin our step-by-step journey to a delicious, homemade Amish-style loaf. Our first crucial step is to activate the yeast, a process sometimes called proofing. In your large mixing bowl, combine your warm water, a pinch of sugar if using, and your active dry yeast. Give it a gentle stir. Now, let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. What you're looking for is a foamy, bubbly layer on top of the water. This tells you your yeast is alive and active, ready to work its magic. If you don't see bubbles, your yeast might be old or the water was too hot/cold, and it's best to start over. While your yeast is proofing, you can quickly prepare your dry ingredients. In a separate, medium-sized bowl, whisk together your all-purpose flour and salt. If you're using a powdered milk or other dry additions, incorporate them here too. Whisking ensures that the salt and any other dry components are evenly distributed throughout the flour. This prevents pockets of overly salty or bland dough later on, contributing to a consistently flavored loaf. This is a quick step, but an important one. Once your yeast mixture is bubbly and alive, it's time to bring everything together. Pour your proofed yeast mixture into the large bowl containing the dry ingredients. If you're adding oil or melted butter, add it now. Using your sturdy wooden spoon or spatula, start stirring from the center outwards. Mix until just combined and a shaggy dough forms. Don't worry about it being perfectly smooth yet, we just want to ensure all the flour is hydrated. This stage is quick and will barely take a minute of your active time. Now for the part that often intimidates beginners, kneading. But don't fret, the Amish way keeps it simple. Kneading develops the gluten in the flour, which is the protein network that gives bread its structure and elasticity. Think of gluten as tiny elastic bands that stretch and trap the carbon dioxide produced by the yeast, allowing the bread to rise. Proper kneading results in a light, airy crumb, while under-kneading can lead to a dense, heavy loaf. We're aiming for a happy medium here. For this beginner-friendly recipe, we're not aiming for an exhaustive 10-minute workout. Transfer your shaggy dough onto a lightly floured surface. Now, here's the easy part. Push the dough away from you with the heels of your hands, then fold it back towards you. Give it a quarter turn and repeat. Continue this motion for about 5 to 7 minutes. The dough will feel sticky at first, but as you knead, it will become smoother, more elastic, and less sticky. Trust the process, your hands are amazing tools. How do you know if you've kneaded enough? A great indicator is the window pane test. Pinch off a small piece of dough, about the size of a golf ball. Gently stretch it between your fingers. If you can stretch it thin enough to see light pass through it without tearing, like a thin window pane, then your gluten is well developed, and you've kneaded enough. If it tears easily, keep kneading for another minute or two and test again. This simple trick is a baker's secret weapon. Once your dough is smooth and elastic, it's time for the first rise, also known as bulk fermentation. Lightly grease your mixing bowl with a little oil, place the dough in, and turn it once to coat. Cover the bowl with a clean kitchen towel or plastic wrap. Place it in a warm, draft-free spot. This is where the yeast really gets to work. Let it rise for 1 to 1.5 hours, or until it has roughly doubled in size. Patience is a virtue in baking, and this passive time is crucial. During this first rise, the yeast is actively feasting on the sugars in the flour, producing carbon dioxide and alcohol. The carbon dioxide gets trapped in the gluten network we just developed, causing the dough to expand and become airy. The alcohol contributes to the bread's flavor. This bulk fermentation also allows the dough to develop complex flavors and a beautiful texture. It's not just about getting bigger, it's about developing character and depth in your bread. Once your dough has doubled, it's time to punch it down. This sounds aggressive, but it's just gently deflating the dough to release the accumulated gases. This redistributes the yeast, sugars, and gluten, leading to a finer crumb. Turn the dough out onto a lightly floured surface. Gently pat it into a rough rectangle. Now, for shaping your loaf, take one long edge and fold it towards the middle, then the other long edge and fold it over. Pinch the seam closed. Roll it gently to even it out. Simple, right? Before the second rise, prepare your loaf pan. Grease it thoroughly with butter, oil, or a non-stick spray. You can also dust it lightly with flour after greasing to prevent sticking, especially if you have a notoriously sticky pan. This step is crucial for easy removal of your beautiful baked loaf later. A well-greased pan ensures that your bread doesn't get stuck and comes out with a perfect, golden crust all around. Don't underestimate the power of a little grease. Carefully place your shaped loaf into the prepared loaf pan, seam side down. Cover the pan again with your clean kitchen towel or plastic wrap. Find that warm, draft-free spot once more. This is the second rise, often called proofing. It allows the dough to expand again, filling the loaf pan and developing a lighter texture. Let it rise for another 30 to 45 minutes, or until it looks puffy and has nearly doubled in size again. This final rise is essential for a light and airy loaf. While your dough is on its second rise, preheat your oven. This is an important step often overlooked by beginners. A properly preheated oven ensures that the bread starts baking immediately at the correct temperature, leading to a good oven spring, that final burst of rising that happens in the first few minutes of baking. Set your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, 190 Celsius. Make sure it's fully preheated for at least 15 to 20 minutes, even after it signals it's ready, for consistent heat distribution. Once your loaf has completed its second rise and your oven is perfectly preheated, it's time for the moment of truth. Carefully transfer the loaf pan into the hot oven. Bake for approximately 30 to 40 minutes. The exact time can vary slightly depending on your oven, so keep an eye on it. You're looking for a beautiful golden brown crust. If it's browning too quickly, you can loosely tent it with foil for the last 10 to 15 minutes to prevent over-browning while the inside finishes baking. How do you know if your bread is fully baked? Beyond the visual cue of a golden brown crust, there's a simple trick: gently tap the bottom of the loaf. If it sounds hollow, it's done. You can also use an instant read thermometer. The internal temperature of fully baked bread should be between 200 and 210 degrees Fahrenheit, 93 to 99 Celsius. Don't be afraid to take it out of the pan and check. Underbaked bread can be gummy and dense, so ensuring it's cooked through is essential for that perfect texture. Congratulations, you've baked a loaf of bread. But wait, don't slice into it just yet. This final step is crucial: cooling. Immediately transfer your freshly baked loaf from the hot pan to a wire cooling rack. This allows air to circulate all around the bread, preventing it from getting soggy on the bottom. Let it cool for at least 1 hour, ideally 2. During cooling, the internal structure sets, and the flavors continue to develop. Slicing too early can result in a gummy texture. Patience, young baker. As a beginner, you might encounter a few common hiccups, and that's perfectly normal. One frequent issue is dense, heavy bread. This often happens if the yeast wasn't active enough, maybe the water was too cold or too hot, or the yeast was old. It can also be a sign of underkneading, meaning the gluten structure wasn't fully developed to trap those gases. Double-check your yeast activity and ensure you're getting to that windowpane stage next time. If your dough is incredibly sticky and hard to handle, there could be a few culprits. It might be slightly too much water in your mixture, or perhaps you haven't added enough flour. Environmental factors like high humidity can also make dough stickier. Don't add too much extra flour at once, instead, add a tablespoon at a time during kneading until it's more manageable. Lightly flouring your hands and work surface also helps tremendously without drastically changing your hydration ratio. Perhaps the most disheartening problem for a new baker is when your dough just doesn't rise. This almost always points to an issue with your yeast. Either the yeast was dead, past its expiration date, or stored improperly, or the water temperature was extreme, killing it. Always proof your yeast first to confirm it's alive and bubbly before mixing it with your dry ingredients. If it doesn't foam, discard and start fresh with new yeast and correctly tempered water. It's a crucial first step. Once you've mastered this basic Amish-style white bread, you can start experimenting. A simple variation is to swap out some of the all-purpose flour for whole wheat flour. Start by replacing about a quarter to a third of the all-purpose flour. Whole wheat flour absorbs more liquid, so you might need to add a tablespoon or two of extra water until the dough feels right. This will give your bread a nuttier flavor, a denser texture, and a boost of fiber. It's a healthy and delicious next step. To add more personality to your loaf, consider incorporating herbs or seeds. You can mix in dried herbs like rosemary, thyme, or oregano during the dry ingredient stage. For seeds, try adding a handful of sunflower seeds, poppy seeds, or sesame seeds during the kneading process. Not only do they add delightful texture and flavor, but they also make your bread look incredibly gourmet. Just be sure not to add too many, or they might affect the dough's rise. A quarter to a half cup is usually a good amount. There's something truly magical and deeply satisfying about baking your own bread. The aroma that fills your home, the pride of creating something so fundamental from scratch, and the incredible taste of a fresh, warm slice, it's an experience that transcends mere cooking. This Amish-style bread isn't just a recipe, it's an invitation to a tradition of mindful creation, a way to connect with simple pleasures and nourish your loved ones with wholesome goodness. It's truly a transformative skill. Beyond the incredible taste, baking your own bread offers numerous benefits. You control every ingredient, avoiding preservatives, artificial flavors, and excessive sugar often found in store-bought loaves. It's also surprisingly cost-effective, especially when you consider the price of artisanal breads. And let's not forget the therapeutic aspect, the rhythm of kneading, the patience of waiting for the rise. It's a wonderfully calming and rewarding process that boosts your well-being. It's self-care you can eat. This versatile Amish-style bread is perfect for virtually any meal. Slice it thick for toast with butter and jam in the morning. Use it to build the most incredible sandwiches for lunch, elevating even the simplest fillings. Serve it alongside a hearty stew or soup for dinner, soaking up every last delicious drop. Or simply enjoy a warm slice on its own, a testament to its comforting simplicity. Its mild flavor and soft texture make it a crowd pleaser every single time, ready for any occasion. To keep your precious homemade loaf fresh, store it properly. Once completely cooled, you can keep it at room temperature in an airtight container or a bread bag for 3 to 4 days. Avoid refrigerating it, as this can dry out the bread and make it stale faster. For longer storage, slice the bread and freeze it in an airtight freezer bag for up to 2 to 3 months. You can then pull out slices as needed and toast them straight from the freezer for instant freshness. Never waste a single crumb. Remember, baking bread, especially the Amish way, is less about perfection and more about the process. It's about taking simple ingredients and, with a little patience and care, transforming them into something truly wonderful. Don't be afraid to get your hands a little sticky, to make a mess, or even to have a loaf that isn't absolutely perfect the first time. Every attempt is a learning experience, and every loaf, no matter its imperfections, is a testament to your effort and creativity. Enjoy the journey. So there you have it, the simple, forgiving, and incredibly rewarding process of making delicious bread for beginners, the old Amish way. You've learned the power of basic ingredients, the magic of yeast, and the joy of creating something truly nourishing with your own hands. This isn't just a recipe, it's a gateway to a lifetime of baking adventures. We encourage you to try this recipe this week, and you'll be amazed at how quickly you become a confident home baker. Your kitchen will thank you. We can't wait to see your beautiful bread creations. Please share your experience and photos in the comments below. What variations did you try? What did you serve it with? Your tips and insights will inspire other aspiring bakers in our community. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful, subscribe to our channel for more easy and delicious recipes, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next baking adventure. Happy baking, and we'll see you next time.